Welcome to KSR Datavizon YouTube channel. In the continuation of our end-to-end project, we are at the second part where we will try to do the data transformation and we'll also do some type of calculation that has been asked. Now, in the previous video, what we have seen is we have loaded all the data that is coming from different data sources. One was coming from database, one was coming from Excel, and one was coming from CSV. So we have set of tables that has been given. So as been told in the previous video, some of the information your client may give it or may not give it. If they give it, they will give you where the data is coming from. If they not give it, it's your responsibility to jump into the database and take out the right data. Now in this project, they have given the data set and it is of 6 data sets where they have asked few requirements. That is what is being displayed on this business requirement document, or can be called as a functional requirement document. Now let's go back to this. Once you have loaded the tables, now you need to do the data transformation and you need to do data modeling. In this video, we will concentrate on the modeling part, the data transformation part, and also we will create some calculations. To start with, let's understand what is this data. So the categories data, if you see, it is just a key number 1, 2, which is having special and general, which I can call it as a dimension table. Coming to geography, so this is the information that is being given about the location and town. But in fact, if you understand, there is some type of correction is required because the column header is being coming as a first row in the table. So there is need for some correction. Coming to the product details. So this product details will have all the product information. What is the color, maybe what is the retail price, what is the standard cost. So if you observe this, one thing which catched my eye is there are some duplicates. ID number 10 is duplicate, ID number 7 is duplicate. Remember one thing as a thumb rule, dimension table cannot have duplicates. This is a duplicate. This table also requires some type of transformation. Now, let's come to this subcategory. So subcategory is again a dimension table where it is basically an extra, regular, micro, all these are values. It becomes a dimension table. Coming to sales rep is also a dimension table, but unfortunately here also there is a problem. The first row is being like a column name. This also requires some type of transformation. Now, categories, geography, product details, sales rep, as well as subcategory, all these are dimension table. There is only one fact table which is called the sales information. So all the files, 4 files we have loaded together by a folder, and now this becomes a fact table. Now we will go and do some type of transformations that has been asked by the business, and also you need to take care of some of the corrections that is required in the data set. Now let's go to the modeling part. This is a category data, this is a geography data, this is a sales rep data, and this is a subcategory data. Already there is only one join that has been happened by default. Sometimes Power BI is brilliant. They come up with the relationships by default if it is finding a common column. So now the subcategory and subcategory has been joined, but all the other tables, if you see, this is not at all modeled. So it's our responsibility as a Power BI developers or data analyst, so to do all the transformations and modeling part. Now in order to do this, let's go back to our Power Query editor. Now I will go and click this transform data and I'll go to this transform. So this is something which I am seeing as a part of transformation layer, which is Power Query Editor. Now, always remember, in this view, make sure you check all this so that you will get to know the health of the column. The preferred one always will be 100% valid, 0% error, 0% empty. So this is something you need to always maintain it. Okay. Now, coming to category, see, sometimes some of the transformations the business may give you. For example, if you see, they may ask you to do the necessary changes. They may ask you to create a unique ID, and they may ask you to change the format, which is like this. So all this is something which they will ask you. Okay. Now, if they have not asked, you have to understand what is wrong with that. Now let's go this category. It's a straightforward one to special and general. Now coming to geography. So what is geography? So geography is a location that is being given, the country and town, but unfortunately it is changing in the value itself is in the first row. You need to bring this to the column name. You have a very good feature in Power BI, which is there in the home option. Just go and use first row as headers. Now the actual column name which was in the first row has moved here. Now sometimes you may not know what you're doing, so it's always best practice to see what you have done. So this becomes the applied steps, what has been applied. Now this is clean data. Now coming to sales rep. In the sales rep also there is the same problem. I go and use first row as a header because sales rep ID and the sales rep name is as a first row. I'll go and put as a header. Now this is clean data. Now coming to the sales table. In the sales table, you have the sales representative ID, which is from 1 to 7. There are 7 representatives. Those 7 representative ID is given by 1 to 7. But if you go and say in the sales rep, it is not just the ID, or maybe it's not just the number. It is given by ID hyphen number, which needs some correction. After all your transformation, you need to do data modeling. For the data modeling, you need to see the columns are matching with each tables. Now in this, if you see, the ID is 1 to 7 without the prefix of ID, but here there is a ID. Let's go and remove this. So replace value ID hyphen replace with null, nothing. Now I've got this representative ID. So this 1 to 7 is now 1 to 7 ID in the sales table. Okay. So we have worked with category, we have worked with geography, we have worked with sales rep, and we have something called subcategory. In the subcategory, if you see, we are referring some category key. That category is like 1 to 1 to ID1, ID2, ID1, ID2. This is basically coming from this categorical table. It is meant like special extra, special micro, general, regular. So based on that, the ID is given. This also needs correction because in this it is just number, but in this it is ID underscore 1, something like that, or ID hyphen 1, something like that. Let's go and remove that. Replace value ID hyphen replace with null. So these 3 things are changed, but this is not changed because there is some gap here. Let me copy this. Again, I'll go here. Again, I'll replace values. Again, I'll drag this here or copy paste, and I'll not give anything. Now it has been good. So this category key and this category table, now it is having a common column with a common value. Now this is done, this is done, this is done. Now coming to subcategory, this is also cleaned. Make sure always you follow this 100-0-0 rule. And coming to sales information, in the sales information, do you really think this is a required data? Not required. It's just the file name. I can go and remove it. Now this is a key. This is a product key, sales key. In the location, I think there is country and town that has been combined in this table with a semicolon. Let's go and split this because I want to do a join. So let me go to home, split column by delimiter, and the delimiter will be semicolon, and just click that. That entire location is now divided into two columns, and this becomes country, and this becomes town, right? So I was able to remove the ID, and I'm able to split this, and let's see if there is any other correction required. No correction. And as I was telling, every step you do, it will be getting recorded here. And one thing is, if someone sees your transformation, they have to understand what you have done. So rather than by using this, you start giving your own name. This will help other people to go through your code. You tell them that you have renamed columns from location 1 to country, and you've also replaced location 2 to town. Now what is this, what you have did in this step? In this step I have splitted location. I have splitted location. Now coming to removed columns, I have removed source details as it was showing the file names. So like this, if you name every step, it will help the other people to go through and understand what you have done. So this is something which we follow as part of a standard. Anyone can do report, anyone can do transformation, but who is someone who is considered as an experienced person who maintains all this type of documentation and notes? Now sales is something I have cleaned it. And now coming to product details, in the product details, you can see the product information, subcategory, color, everything is good. But unfortunately, there are two IDs which is duplicated. Remember one thing, in a dimension table, there cannot be duplicates. You can simply go and remove duplicates. ID number 10, which is repeated twice, will be removed, and ID number 7, which is duplicated, will be removed once. Now I have the unique combination of all the product. Now sales information, product information, subcategory, sales rep, geography, and category. Now let's go and see what is a requirement. Now this is something which we have done. So geo key is something they are asking to create. Create a unique key in a sales and geography table. What you can do is, in the geography table, based on this combination, they're asking to add one index. Add an index value starting from 1 and give this as geo key, and let's bring this geo key to the sales table, and we will remove this categorical data. So Germany, Dresden could be 1, Germany Frankfurt could be 2. So it is depending on what ID is being given here. Based on that, we can replace here. Simply I will go here, I'll go to home, I will go to merge. I'm not creating a new table, I'm going to create the same table. I'm going to alter it, so I'll go to merge. So this is already selected. I will go and select the geography. And what is a common column? Country, join with country, control click, town with town. For this common table, you apply a join. Merge is nothing but a join condition. So let it be a left outer join. If you see, the selection matches. Now click OK. Now from this geography table, you don't need country, you don't need town, you don't need Wikipedia, we just need geographical key, and I will select this geography key and I'll keep this. So you can bring this geographical key to the side where you have your country and town. Now if you see, this is coming from the geographical table, but if you see 5 means it's Germany, Dresden, 1 means it's Czech Republic, Prague. So like this, you have been given ID. Do you really require this? Not at all. Remove it. because I already have a reference which is been coming from geography table. Okay, now let's verify this category. It's correct. Geography, it's correct. Sales rep, it's correct. Subcategory, it's correct. Product information, it's correct. Sales, it's correct. Everything is perfect. Let me go and close and apply. All the changes which I have done will be coming to my Power BI view. Now if you see, there are some other mapping that also has happened. Now what we will do, we will match step by step. So already the geo key is matched with geo key because I merged it. And now coming to this subcategory is joined with subcategory. Now what we will do, we add the sales rep ID. This sales rep ID is also there in your fact table. You join the sales rep with the sales rep. Just drag, either you can drag from here to here or here to here. So it is going to follow this one-to-many relationship. So this table is joined. Geography location is also joined. Now coming to category. So just check if you have the category information here. We don't have category information, but category information is present in this. So drag your category key on top of this. Now this is also joined, and in the product details you can see that the subcategory ID is already joined. So this three becomes one table and this three becomes one set of joins. Now how to interconnect is, if you see here, the product ID is present in this product ID. Now let's drag this product ID to product ID. Now you see the sales table is connected with three tables, and this table is again connected with other two tables. This is the entire modeling I have created. Just see if every table is joined to each other. So this is joined with the product and this is joined with the sales. And here also, if you see, the sales rep information is also joined and the geographical key which is also joined. Now coming back to this data, every data which is being added, now the proper relationship is created. Now let's go back to the requirement. The sales rep and need some additional requirements, some ID columns has to be removed. Everything I am removing as per my understanding, as also per my document. The next step is create the data model connecting all tables. This is also something which we have done. Now they're asking to create a calendar table. Now let's go and create one date master. Remember one thing, this is again a thumb rule. Any data which you have, any date column or a data type which you have in any of the table, it is always the best practice to create a date master table, which will be really helpful when you are working with a time intelligence functions. Now I'll simply go with a table, new table, and I'm going to give that new table name as date master. And for the date master, in order to create a new table which is of a calendar type, we have a function called calendar. And DAX is very easy. Why? Because it will clearly on the face, it will tell what is required. The first it is required is start date, and the next it is required end date. We'll simply go and give first date from sales table, which is like sales of date. What is the first date that is present? That from there I will create a date master that will become the start date, and then I'll give last date present in sales of date table. For example, January 1st is a first date that was present in the sales table. Using that, and 31st December is the last date using this table. Using that, you create your own table. That's the purpose of this. If you see here, now there is a new table that is created, which is called the date master, and the starting date will be February 1st, 2014. And if you see, it will be December 31st, 2017. This is the entire table which I have it. Now I can change the format if required. And now what I will do, since I will be working with most of the time intelligence functions, like they may ask you week by sales, month by sales, quarter by sales. So what I can do, I can start adding some new columns which will be useful for my calculations. First, I will take year. I'll simply go and write year function, year of date master of date. So what happens in this date masters of date? You take out only the year. I've got the year. Now I'll go to the new column. In the new column, I will go and give month, and I will give month of date master of date. Then you close the bracket and this becomes month. But unfortunately, since this is a January, it is giving me 1. But I need some good naming convention. So what I can do is I can give month name. So month name is given by format. The value I'll give date master of date, and the format which I want is I will put MMMM and I'll close it. Now the month name is coming January. We all know that it's January. You need not spell it completely. Just reduce one M. You will be getting a short name for it. So this January, February, March, this is enough, more than enough to do a report. Now coming to the new column. Now month is there, month name is there. Let me find out the quarter. So quarter information will be required. The quarter just requires one parameter, which is like date master of date. Now I'll enter the quarter information, also something which I got. Now I will give week number. Who knows, my client may ask week by sales. So week number, and I'm expecting date master of date. Now I'll enter it. Now if you see here, this is basically the entire year. In a year, we have 52 or 53 weeks, depending on the leap year as such. So it becomes 53. This is a week number. Maybe if client asks which week in an year is giving me more sales, I think this will be useful. But also I need something called weekday. So weekday. So we have a function called weekday, and it is expecting date data type, which is going to be date master of date. Now if we just enter it, now if you see, it's whether it is a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday till Saturday, it has been given as a number. Maybe this is not that readable. What I could have done is I could have done it in a better way. I would just give week day name. This is some readable, right? So let me give format, and it is expecting date master of date, and this time the format, let me give DDDD. Now if you go and see, for the 4 days I'm getting the complete name, not required. We all know 3 is enough. I can keep it short. 3 characters should be helpful for me to decide which day it is. Okay, now this is a table which I have created for my own calculation. For now I will stop at this. In case if I want any new columns, I will add it later. In this date master, if anything newly required, let me go and add it in the future. Now coming to this requirement, we have created a calendar table. Now the actual calculations of DAX comes into picture. Please keep an eye on this. This is very important. In the real time, they may or they may not give the actual column. You have to find out how the sales is been given. They are only telling calculate total revenue in the sales table. Go to the sales table. You don't have revenue at all. You have units, percent of standard cost, revenue discount is there, and geographical key basically tells which location and which town it is coming from. They're asking to calculate total revenue, and they are giving the hint like calculate total revenue by using products retail price. You go to the product table. In the product table, you see this retail price. By using the retail price and multiplying it by units. So I'll keep it simple. In the sales table, you already have units. This one you need to multiply with the product information retail price. That's my first requirement. Now usually what we do is we have this and this, right? Like for example, in the same table, if you want to do, what I will do, simply I can just say percent of standard, and I can multiply with revenue discount, something like that. Revenue, I can multiply because both are in the same column, same table. This is also in the same table. This is also the same table. But is my requirement now same? No. Units is coming from here, whereas product retail price is coming from a product table. Now, how do you handle this? Now, I will give the proper name. They have asked to calculate total revenue in the sales table. So in the sales table, you're going to add a new column. It is basically like multiplying by the units. So basically what you have to do, sales of units multiply with, see, product itself is not coming. Product details is not at all coming. Why? I cannot multiply two columns from two different tables directly. So this is not at all populating. But we know we have one very good function which is called related. So this sales of units I am multiplying with related of where I have related. So I have related with the product details of retail price. Now what happens when you're using related? Related function is a relationship function which can be used to point to the other table in a measure. Now what happens? From the product table, it will take the retail price and it will be multiplied with the units. For 9, for 9, what could be the, for 9, what could be the retail price? 26.95. So this 26.95 value will be multiplied with this 130. That's what total revenue. Now I've easily got this total revenue as my calculated column as been asked. The same thing now they're asking calculate cost. Now to calculate the total cost in the sales table. So again in the same table, go and add a new column. This time you go and see total cost. So the total cost is given by in the sales table by using the product's standard cost and multiplying with the units. You simply say sales of units multiplied by, directly I cannot take a column from a new table. It has to be related. It should be related of, I am taking from product details of standard cost. That is what is being asked. Now I will go and multiply this. So I have got total revenue, I have got total cost. Now the last thing which they want is gross profit. So the gross profit is given by total revenue minus total cost. Now again I'll create a new column. This time I'll give total gross profit. The gross profit is given by total revenue minus total cost. So I can simply say it as sales of total revenue minus sales of total cost. Now you may ask me question, why I am not using any related as such? Because both are in the same table. So total revenue minus total cost, this is something I want it now. So total revenue, cost and gross profit, they only asked me to create a measure, the calculated column, but they've given me the hint how you have to calculate. You being a very good person in a DAG function, you know which DAG function you have to use. By using the related, I was able to achieve it. Now I have all the three columns. Now I can simply go and start my report. There are certain percentages or averages in the next part that we can write it measure. Now we have written a calculated column. Then for all the averages, percentages, we can start writing the measure. Now just to summarize, we have a category which is a clean data date master that has been created as per the requirement. Remember this as a thumb rule. Any table which is having a date column, it is must that you have to create a date master, because that will be very useful when you are creating time intelligence function. And geography, Yes, you add some of the corrections. That was a header was a first row. You moved it to the column, and you have just given a geographical key that was being asked in the requirement. Then comes my product details. Product details add some duplicates, which again I have removed. And coming to the sales information, I have replaced the location and the town into geographical key. But remember, there was a semicolon between. I clean it and then I have added it, and all this new three columns was implemented as part of my requirement, and I've used DAC functions. This is also the complete data. Now coming to the sales rep, this is a sales representation information, and this is a subcategory which is related to category. Now I can say the modeling is also done. We have also created a date master. So this date master will be again joined with the sales table, date and date. I'll simply go and join. Now all the modeling is done. This is what you will be doing in the real time as well. Maybe I've taken 20-25 minutes, but in the real time, it could be a bit of more columns, or it could be a little of more transformations that has been required. This is what you will be doing as part of the data transformation and computation, which is our second part. Now in the initially we went with a requirement gathering and we collected the data, and the second step we have transformed it and we have the computation ready, and the next thing is our actual building the report by using all our charts as well as custom charts, which is going to be our next part. So next part we will see in our next video, and many of them have requested the data set. So we have put into this GitHub. All the data is being uploaded here. We will be sharing you this link in our description. You can simply go and click and you can download it. If you practice with me, you will be able to build one complete end-to-end project. So the data is available, and you can download it from the description. In the next video, we will see how we can build the report. So far, gathering, data collection, and the transformation is most important point, which is completed. Now I can clearly say that my data is readily available to work. Every modeling, every cleaning, everything is done. Now I can use all these 7 tables. I can start building my report. Here it is 7. Maybe in the real time, if you're working for some complex projects, it could be 9 tables, 10 tables. Depends on the complexity. We'll build the report in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed, and please follow the sequential order of the video. Initially, we discussed about the steps. Then we have discussed about the first part, and this is going to be the second part. Please watch previous videos and then come back to this video. Thank you all for watching.